Warning! The following podcast contains strong language which some listeners may find offensive. If you do,
Up yours! That's only if you don't listen to the podcast. Otherwise, not up yours.
did you know the Untitled Wrestling Podcast is on all of the social media outlets? Give us a like, follow, share, subscribe, or even a review if you're feeling generous. Facebook and YouTube at Untitled Wrestling Podcast, Twitter, Twitch and Discord at Untitled Rest Pod.
Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of the Untitled Wrestling Podcast. It is Tuesday, you know what that means. We're back. We had a week off last week because all of us got sick because it's winter and flu is everywhere. And yeah, we all go and stand in like very small confined spaces with lots of other people when we watch wrestling, and that's not good for not getting the flu, as it turns out. I'm joined as always by Faye and Jay. Faye, how are you?
I'm good. I've just recently watched the second episode of being the Dark Order. It's funny, but
if seeing John Silver giggle and feeding flamingos seed doesn't bring you joy, you have no fucking hope in this world.
And yeah. Jay, how are you, man?
Yes. Well, I mean, after yesterday's King's Dilemma, which was like my first day of feeling healthy in about a week, I came out and fucking tore the place up, didn't I?
That was good fun. Yeah, so me and Jay, we've started a legacy board game with a couple of friends. Every Sunday we go to a mate's house and we basically do horrendous crimes on a fictional fantasy kingdom. We're absolutely not extracting gold from people's blood. Don't worry about it.
No. Why would we be doing anything like that?
To fund our holy war.
Yeah, like, so that's fun. I am enjoying that. It's basically legally distinct Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I'm like RPing as like religious nutjobs, and Jay is like a warmongering southerner. So it's good fun.
Yeah. And my house is called Housework.
Speaking of nutjobs, and for no reason that we won't come on to in the news section, this week's TNFaye. We had a week off last week, so this week's TNFaye, we're going to talk all about the man formerly known as Okada. Kazuchika Okada, that is. Oh, don't you worry about that. We'll come to that. So
let me know when I'm dropping this picture in.
Which when I say his name, that's when you drop it. So Okada. So as we all know, a lot of New Japan talent, especially younger talent, go on excursions to other parts of the world to learn sort of different styles of wrestling and sort of round out the characters, round out their sort of skill sets. Obviously, Naito in Japan was a really famous one. In Mexico, was a really famous one. Like Lij.
He did go to TNA first.
He did go to TNA, but that's a story for another time, my friend.
Yeah, it is.
So we're going to talk about Okada's excursion to TNA. He makes his debut in February 16, 2010, so a good while ago. Baby Okada. As Okada, as just Okada, no Kazuchika, just Okada. So their name only. His first match is a dark match where he loses to Alex Shelley. It's fine. Alex Shelley's a top guy. Nothing wrong with that.
That's his wrestle dad.
Yeah, it's fine, and it'll be a good match. Then we've got a bit of bleed over from the last episode we talked about. He had a match on Explosion. This was his first match on TV. Now, you might not have heard about TNA Explosion because nobody did. Nobody watched it. It was their second show, except it was more Rampage than Collision, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even think it aired in the UK. I think you have to watch it like online or something.
It did air in the UK, but it was on at weird fucking times. It was like
I never knowingly saw it, and I used to stay up and watch Dynamite and watch
TNA
Impact like live. So I was the level of fan that I never fucking managed to watch it. So that's how weird it was scheduled.
It was one of those things that you just kind of stumble home from the pub like midweek,
and it might just be on like a Tuesday night at like 2 a.m.
I genuinely think it was like on a Tuesday or a Wednesday at like 2 a.m. or something like that.
Because Impact was normally on a Thursday, wasn't it? That was its big night.
Yeah.
Normally, until we won't talk about the Monday Night Wars yet. Well, that's again a story for another time. So anyway, his first televised match was on Explosion. He teamed with Homicide against Generation Me, the Young Bucks. So yeah, fair play.
I mean, that's a good match.
Yeah, he lost. Okay, he lost. And then he made his Impact debut. So bear in mind, he debuts in February. He has his first TV match in April.
Okay.
And then he makes his Impact debut in July. So
Okay.
already we're like nearly 6 months in, and he's not even been on the show that people watch yet. But he's not. So he makes his Impact debut. Perfect. Who's he wrestling? Oh no! He's not wrestling. He ran into the ring to try and stop a former ECW wrestler invasion.
Just by himself.
Well, with other like jobbers basically, and they all got taken out. Because for some reason in 2010 we're doing another ECW takeover reunion like thing. They were called. I mean, we haven't even talked about EV 2.0. That's a fucking story for another time as well.
Say, is this like another another Impact trying to do WWE things?
We'll talk about this another time. We'll put a pin in that for now, but just remember it's out there. And then he gets his first win in August in another dark match against Kid Cash. So far, so jobber. He's just having a sort of underutilized sort of lower
like
card
a young
experience.
lion run when they first get in.
Yeah, sort of. However, he makes a more prominent return to television in January 20th, 2011. So this is almost a full year after his debut. He turns face and he reveals himself to be a cameraman hired by Samoa Joe to follow around the Pope D'Angelo De Niro. So I don't think we've ever come across the Pope D'Angelo De Niro yet, have we? I was thinking about him this morning. He basically he was like sort of wrong place, wrong time for him. He was in WWE as Elijah Burke. Tremendously talented wrestler, like super over. He had like a sort of like a street preacher kind of gimmick.
Yeah,
he was like
evangelical type thing.
He was more like a sort of. I don't want to draw. I don't want to draw comparisons to Swerve, but he very much had the potential if he was in the right place to become as hot as Swerve is now.
Right. Okay.
But it was all.
He had the charisma, but not. Not close to what Swerve's got, but
no,
he definitely had the charisma and the ability to be a standout talent for sure.
There were a couple of times when they got so close to pulling the trigger on him and putting a belt on him. I don't think he ever won a title in TNA, which is insane.
He had that one world title match where I think was it against Angle?
He had one against AJ because he won against all odds, and then he went on to fight AJ at Lockdown, and AJ stabbed him with a fork and pinned him.
Yeah, that was it.
Oh.
Yeah, and that was as high as he ever got on the card. He was phenomenal. Really, he was super over with the Impact fans. He was like, but anyway, so this is 2010 or 2011. So obviously we're into peak Bischoff fuckery at this point. And so all of your favorites are doing stupid shit now for reasons. So there's an angle where D'Angelo De Niro basically is claiming to be collecting money to help the needy and to help people who are less fortunate than himself, and Samoa Joe doesn't believe him, so he hires a cameraman to follow him and to film him. And they've been playing these vignettes over the last few weeks. He'd gone to a dog shelter and he wanted to get some dogs for kids who don't have anything, but he actually wanted pit bulls and stuff like that. And I can't remember, there was another one. Basically, he was doing shady shit, and he was getting exposed by Joe, who was playing these videos every week to sort of show him up. Anyway, it came to a head when basically Joe introduced that his cameraman was in fact Okada. However, it wasn't Kazuchika Okada as we know and love him. At the time, The Green Hornet was the hot new film, the Seth Rogen comic book film.
It wasn't even after time. It was 5 months after it fucking came out.
Yeah. It just come out on TV or something, and someone just watched it on in a hotel or something. And so he was basically given the gimmick of Kato from The Green Hornet, Seth Rogen's sort of Asian.
I've never seen The Green Hornet.
So The Green Hornet is basically he's Stoner Batman, except he's got an Asian guy who does all the work for him.
Yeah.
Oh no. And they gave that to Okada.
So they get to Jay, I think now. So if they changed his, well, not Okada. So he was inspired by a guy called Kato. That was the character. They changed his name to Okato.
I've just dropped a picture in the chat there for you, Faye.
Okato.
if you want to see what he looked like.
What, in the Facebook
Do I
chat?
want to see?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you need to see this.
I want to see this. Just
What
just
is
do-
that?
Yep.
For anyone listening, the picture is definitely going to be in the thumbnail.
Oh no.
So yeah, he was like Samoa Joe's henchman, basically. Who would
That makes me so sad.
He would do things like he would stop D'Angelo De Niro from like leaving the ring, like because he'd try and like run away because he was a heel, and Kato would stop him and like get battered, and then Joe would catch up to him and then drag D'Angelo back into the ring.
Is that on his head?
And so basically, this all worked towards a match. He, as a Kato, he was only a Kato for like 2 months because it was so shit. He made his pay-per-view debut at Against All Odds 2011. Basically, so this was a year after the Against All Odds 2010 was when Pope won the tournament and got a title shot. A year later, 2011, he was having this match with Samoa Joe where De Niro Kato prevented him from leaving the ring, and he had like his big involvement in the feud. He finally made his in-ring debut on the 24th of March 2011, more than a year after his Impact debut, and he defeated the Pope by disqualification. That was the end of the feud, and that was it. He returned back to Japan after that.
Well, New Japan,
Probably
like
for the best. That makes me so sad.
New Japan actually ended like their relationship with TNA while Bischoff and Hogan were there because of this.
Yeah, so he actually had one more match in TNA after that Impact match. He was in the Explosion Championship Challenge on the 21st of June. He lost to Alex Shelley in what was like a nice sort of closing of the loop. You know, it was his first match, it was his last match. He then basically returned to he was removed from the roster in October, returned to New Japan at Wrestle Kingdom 6, where he had what many people consider a very lackluster match with Yoshihashi.
And the world title that show.
Yeah. Now, I've heard some conflicting reports on how Okada viewed his time in America and specifically in TNA. Obviously, as Jay said, this sort of misuse led to New Japan basically falling out with TNA and cutting all ties with them, because they had like at this time they had like a bit of a talent exchange going on. So like the British Invasion, which was Doug Williams and Nick Aldis, were IWGP Tag Team Champions. They won it off Team 3D, the Dudley Boys, who'd won it off New Japan guys. Like No Limit had been in there, Naito had been in there, and it's all sort of come to an end. So Okada had later went and revealed that he hated his time in TNA. Like he hated his book and he hated his character, but he also in a separate interview said that being in an American wrestling company like that and having those, and not necessarily the experiences he was having, but seeing everyone else working, that basically taught him that he needed to develop his own character, and he credits his time in America with inspiring him to become the Rainmaker.
Yeah,
I mean that makes sense, because especially with like the people in TNA at the time, if that's what you're surrounded with.
Yeah, so to give you an idea, after the Wrestle Kingdom match with Yoshihashi, he challenged Tanahashi at the same show because Tanahashi beat Suzuki. Then after literally the next month at New Beginning, Okada beat Tanahashi to win the title. He basically said that the time in America taught him he needed more than just a great match, he needed a character. And that was. So he literally went from the very bottom of like the shittest booking in TNA. He realized that when he returned to Japan, if he could basically put something together to elevate him, and then literally as soon as he got back to Japan, he went straight to the top, and he just stayed there ever since. So yeah, it worked. Yeah. It worked out all right in the end for your boy Okada.
Yeah. I mean, that is not my boy Okada. That is not. That is
no. It's your boy Okada.
It's not my boy. That ain't my boy.
Yeah. So The reason we chose Okada is because, well, first of all, he recently said in an interview that he doesn't want to work for Impact Wrestling, but he hates TNA, but he also wants to wrestle in TNA because he feels like there's an unfinished chapter in his book.
Yeah.
This was before TNA announced the rebrand back to TNA.
I know.
So that's it. But he obviously would have known because, yeah. So that's interesting. What's more interesting is it was broken I say earlier today, it was about 10 minutes before we started recording, that by Sports Illustrated as well, so it's a big deal, which means it could possibly be more like leaning towards WWE, that Kazuchika Okada's current New Japan contract expires the end of January. Now, obviously, we've seen before that, like, a lot of the time when this kind of thing happens and there's like a bit of an exodus of talent, it gives New Japan a bit of a shot in the arm because they're forced to elevate people you wouldn't normally see. And obviously, they are losing Will Ospreay as well. But also, Okada has said that he continuing to live in Japan is a priority for him, which would
where his wife lives, isn't it?
Yeah, his wife's like a.
She's the Japanese voice of
she's a voice artist. Yeah, she's a voice artist
in My Little Pony.
Yeah, so she's like does a lot of work in Japan, obviously, and it's very sort of geographically.
They're a very famous couple, and they have a young baby.
Yeah. So while that would probably rule out WWE unless he was working like a fucking Roman schedule, which, I mean, if anyone could walk into WWE and do that, it would be Okada.
Yeah.
For sure. Probably, maybe gonna see him in TNA or AW, where obviously there's a bit more flexibility for him to be able to go back and forth. And Ospreay's going to be going back and forth between England. Pac's done it for years.
They could all ride share or something. You know, it'd be fine.
Yeah,
getting Tony's private jet and just have a nice time. Imagine Okada and Ibushi and fucking Tony's private jet by themselves.
Nah, that would be
try and fly
it. Two men accidentally hijack a plane.
We thought it was Tony Khan's jet.
Yeah, I mean, given the way Impact do their tapings, that would actually be beneficial to Okada if he wanted to do that.
Yeah,
same.
Probably wild him just going to TNA though, wouldn't it?
It would be the most Okada fucking thing ever, though.
But also give me Okada and Leon Slater.
Oh, it's gonna be mad when he pops up the fucking collective next year, innit?
Bloodsport, Okada and Bloodsport.
Goes 30 minutes with Joey Janela at spring break.
He'd do that though.
He would. Nah, he wouldn't go 30 minutes. He'd go a fucking hour.
Yeah, with the Invisible Man.
Invisible Man and Invisible Stone, both of them.
Yeah.
He'd go an hour with Janela for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, yeah, interesting times indeed that Okada's contract coming up because he is.
That's something I'd never thought I'd ever dream up that Okada would leave.
He's very much like, I wouldn't say he's the Cena of New Japan because that's Tanahashi, but he's very much like the Randy Orton of New Japan in the sense that he's a stalwart who's got an amazing dropkick. But he's just a solid like worker, isn't he? So yeah. It's interesting to see what will happen in Little Kazu's future.
Well,
it's wild to think that we could still get Okada and CM Punk.
Yeah, well, speaking of that, so from someone who's not joining WWE, maybe to someone who has rejoined WWE, Company Man Punk. CM Punk returns. CM Punk returns to Survivor Series, appears on Raw, cuts mid promo. I think that's most of the headlines we missed from last week, wasn't it?
Pretty much. Well, Randy Orton came back like he ate fucking Riddle as well.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
swole as fuck. Jesus, wet.
He's been on Matt Riddle's Hot Pockets diet, hasn't he? Jesus. Except he's been converting them to gains somehow. Randy Orton, the first man to convert stoner food into pure muscle.
I mean, he's got to protect that fucking surgically repaired back somehow.
He thinks, I'll just throw an extra 20 pound of muscle on my shoulders. That'll do the trick.
He's just done that by surrounding it with all of the muscle in his body.
Yeah.
So Orton came back in War Games. This was pre-announced because they wanted to kind of have everyone forget about Punk. Really fun match. Orton looked like he hasn't missed a second, which is nice to see because he's always entertaining as Randy.
I like Randy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can we just have one last? Sports Illustrated have also reported just fuck Punk off, because who cares? Go back to Okada. Apparently, when he wrestled on Dynamite in October, his purpose of the trip wasn't just to wrestle Bryan Danielson. It also was a chance for Okada to acquire a better sense of AEW.
Oh, controversial take here. I don't want Okada in AEW.
Me neither.
It was just. I don't know, because like it's weird, isn't it? Like, because I don't want like I don't want like AEW to be this like Reese's Pieces of like New Japan and AEW. I want like my chocolate over here and my peanut butter over here, and if I want to dip the chocolate in the peanut butter like twice a year, I want to do that. I don't want all the chocolate and peanut butter mushed together, so I can't tell what's what. If that makes sense.
If they had Okada on like what I assume is going to be a Bushi's schedule of just as and when they need him, so he's not really just he's just kind of showing up every now and again.
He's just like a special treat.
Even if he does storylines, they could do like there's ways to work it. Like look at when Pac was cutting the promos from Newcastle, while he was like obviously having to self-isolate every time he was going back and forth during the pandemic. So he'd cut like 3 weeks worth of promos, go to America, self-isolate for 3 weeks, show up like he'd been lost in the woods for fucking months on end, and then crime Eddie Kingston and then fuck off again. So there are ways they can do it, but I just think.
You want to know what my opinion is?
What?
Once you've finished talking, sorry.
I was going to say, I just think unless they like bring him in as a top full-time guy, what's the point?
So for me, I don't want him there because I'm already tired of the Okada wins lol in New Japan, and I don't even watch New Japan that much.
Okada doesn't win that much anymore.
I know, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see that same rhetoric in WWE,
You know for a fact he's doing the fucking JOB to Braniel again.
I'm going to ascend to the heavens when that happens.
Imagine the scenes when fucking Takeshita beats Okada.
I'd love that. God.
I'd love Takeshita and Okada. That match would be fucking real.
But
but do you really want it on like? Do you really want it on like Collision in fucking March instead of like?
No, I want it on the Collective
instead of like Forbidden Door, you know.
Oh, Tony Khan would get coked up and just throw it on Rampage because someone said something that's upsetting him on Twitter that afternoon.
If hypothetically, then we have, I mean, it could happen, it might not, but we could be in a situation in a few weeks where we have Okada, Ospreay, and Ibushi all on the AEW roster.
Takeshita.
But what does that mean for Forbidden Door? Like, where are the matches there?
Where's the Forbidden Door? Like, where's it forbidden? When, like, all your New Japan guys are now in AEW.
What's left? Who's going to go against
Bullet Club feud?
That's it. We just got Bullet Club. It's just Jay White versus David Finlay. That's all we've got now.
That's it. Yeah.
Can I interest you in a Yoshihashi? No. Okay.
Very few takers.
No.
You mean you don't want Bushimon? Tokyo Pimp? Anyone? House of Torture?
I mean, to be fair, Bishamon is great. Yeah. Yoshihashi on his own. Great worker, but he's just got nothing, has he?
Nobody just wants mashed potato. Like mashed potato with a meal. Yeah, great. Just mashed potato? Maybe not.
Extra mashed potato? Yeah, of course. You want extra mashed potato.
Yeah.
But
do you want mashed potato? Do you want mashed potato with your pie? Yeah, of course you do. Do you want a bowl of mashed potato? Nah, not really.
Yeah. Not when it's just a mashed potato.
But yeah, get Driller over in AEW to do a few matches with Mox and Eddie. That'd be fun.
If this is a roundabout way of Dan Maloney getting to AEW, then fuck me. That weird. Right, we'll move on from debuts and returns and possible returns. Someone who's out, sadly, Mackenzie Mitchell, released by WWE. Jay had to explain who she was to me previously.
I don't know who that is.
She was a backstage interviewer in NXT.
Oh,
I know that because Jay told me like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, so a lot of people kind of saw her as being like the closest thing that WWE still had to like having Red A on the books. She was really good, to be fair. She was like, she'd do backstage interviews. She'd also like host like the pre-show stuff for NXT and stuff like that as well. Very, very charismatic, very entertaining to watch. I believe, I'm just trying to find the article on Fightful because I got distracted by the Okada thing. I believe that she has started her own like company off like getting released. So I don't know if it was like a mutually beneficial thing or if she's requested it maybe or something like that.
Right, okay, because there was a little smattering of NXT releases a few weeks back, wasn't there?
Yeah, pass. It would have been.
It's just developmental people. You know, they do that like 6 month improve or you're gone sort of thing, don't they? So.
Yeah, that old fucking great bit of pressure for people who are trying to learn their craft. Where the fuck is it?
Yeah, it don't matter. Anyway, one thing we can talk about, Ric Flair is apparently willing to walk away from AEW because he's old and everyone hates him.
We can talk about that. We can absolutely talk about Ric Flair walking away all day.
They also had to cut a fucking line out of Rampage where he said he wanted to goose 18-year-olds, which, you know.
Listen, mate, Ric Flair is a paragon of virtue and would never lie about anything. So if he says he's going to leave AEW because he's making embarrassing the company, you know for a fact he's absolutely going to go through with that if people tell him that he is.
Yeah, they have to cut a line out of his promo where he said basically like 18-year-old women come up to his hotel room and he'll give them a good porking, which is very upsetting.
He said any 18 to 28-year-olds want to come to my hotel room after the show. No husbands or boyfriends. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, it was like cringy when he was doing it in the fucking like 80s and 90s when he was like in his fucking late 30s, early 40s.
Now he looked at the fucking Crypt Keeper and Tales of the Crypt Keeper. It's even worse.
I feel like that's unfair for the Crypt Keeper.
I mean, that promo that him and Sting did on Dynamite, it was literally like Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh yeah, but I mean, if Ric Flair has to be there though, that's what you do with him. You literally just have him stand there looking half dead, right? and then saying, "Yeah, okay, this is what we did. Like, this is why I'm here because we've got this history, like 30 years, 40 years of history. We did this match, and it put Sting on the map, and like that's fine. Just fucking wheel him off and lock him up again until you next need him to do that shit. You know.
You know what?
Don't give him a fucking live mic in the ring because that shit happens, and you know.
You know what I would have preferred, and obviously. It turned out this like Flair deal's very lucrative, which is why AEW kind of done it. I get that. It's business. But given the fact that they're doing like Sting's last match and they're doing it in the building where Sting had this match with Flair, which put him on the map, have fucking Flair prize him after the match, like come out. That's a nice moment. And then it limits us having to see that fucking walking cadaver sex offender. And
There's definitely a very short expiry date on Ric Flair being over in a company. Like you say, Joe, if Flair just turned up like on the night, you'd probably get like a nostalgia pop, wouldn't you? Because fuck, it's in North Carolina, it's Ric Flair, it's awesome. If you're gonna do this shit for like 3 months in the build up, everyone's gonna fucking hate him by the time you get there.
Yeah,
everyone already fucking does.
Yeah,
but the thing is, like. I mean, again, it's not to diminish anything Ric Flair's done in wrestling because without Ric Flair, probably most of our favourites wouldn't be knocking about.
Yeah, but then he also like to get his knob out and wave it at women, so you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Swings and roundabouts, you know.
Swings and roundabouts, but like
literally swings in this case.
Well, yeah. More like roses, but you know.
I don't want that.
That's semantics. But yeah, like it's one of those things, isn't it? Like from a purely wrestling standpoint, yeah, he's done a fucking great deal for wrestling. But that's why you shouldn't be using him in this massive role now when he's like got so much fucking baggage and so much like bad press surrounding him. Like literally bring him out. Don't have him say a fucking word. Just bring him out to hug Sting after Sting's retired. That's a nice moment. That's a really fucking nice moment.
Yeah, he just comes out like the fucking Grim Reaper, picks up Sting, and they just walk off to the sunset together. There you go. That's perfect. If you've got to do it, that's how you do it. Don't let him fucking talk. Don't let him strut. I mean, Christian did get to kick him in the dick, which was I kind of enjoyed watching. So
Christian, multiple times punched him in the dick. Christian Cage is like, not only is he an absolute role model and a father figure for us all. And my father, for sure. But he also stands up for women's rights by hoofing Ric Flair and the fucking nads as much as he did.
Yeah.
And I hope he does it again, like the fucking role model he is.
Moving on to a bit more slightly more positive news then. Remember Sukaban, the promotion we were talking about a few weeks ago, where Saray has landed in the US?
Yes.
So they're hosting their second event this week on Wednesday. Yeah, so tomorrow as you listen to this. And it's going to be streamed live on CEO Gaming's Twitch channel and Sukaban's and on Sukaban's TikTok page or account or whatever. I don't know how TikTok works. Whatever a TikTok thing is.
Streaming a whole wrestling show on TikTok.
It works just like you do it on Twitch. They just have live broadcast. Like Facebook, the way you have live broadcasts. Similar to that.
We're going down the AAA route, I see.
So some of the matches on the card, we're going to have Midnight Player, Bingo, and Otaku-chan versus Supersonic, Rico Blondie, and Stray Cat. Crush You versus Lady Antoinette. Maya Mamushi and Saki Bimi versus Queen Takase and Konami. Apologies if I'm butchering any of these names, by the way. Saray versus Countess Sayori versus Atomic Bounty versus Babyface. And in the main event for the World Championship, Ichigo Sakaya versus Commander Nakajima, and the winner will become the inaugural champion.
Oh, nice.
It's going to be held in, say somewhere, the Lot 11 skate park in New York City.
I'm just looking
in Miami. In Miami. Sorry, the first show was in New York. This is in Miami.
I'm just looking at the pictures of their last show. My God. Look how fucking cool that is.
Yeah, their merch game and like their whole like sort of presentation is top tier. Like everything's like hot pink and like neon and like cool. It's basically what if Jet Set Radio was wrestling, which I'm fucking into.
Yeah, they're basically trying to kind of embody stardom and the spirit of like the All Japan Women's Division from like the 90s, which is exciting. Yeah, it's just like cool. what if Glow but stardom, and it's like I'm down with that. Yeah, I might try and check that out.
Yeah,
for sure. Oh, it's going to be on Twitch as well.
yeah, on CEO Gaming Twitch channel. Yeah.
Oh right, I missed. I for some reason in my head I thought it was CEO's YouTube channel. Speaking of Twitch as well, because I want to get a little plug in for your boy Evil Uno. On Thursday night, his Mystery Wrestling 5, which is essentially kind of like PWG Mystery Vortex, but absolute silly bollocks, is going to be like, so there's been stuff on Botchamania where they did like a triple threat match of Spider-Man, and they did like the point meme and stuff like that, and they did like a referee versus referee match with Colt Cabana as the guest referee.
Nice.
It's just constant nonsense, but in the best way. But he's got a few friends helping him out on this show. So he's got Excalibur's on commentary with him. Bryce Remsberg's going to be doing the refereeing, and Eddie Kingston's on the show as well. So
he is.
I'm going to be trying to check that out. I believe it's free to watch on Uno's Twitch, or you can watch the on demand on Uno's Patreon for a little bit of money.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe I don't know if it's this show, but definitely on one of the shows. Giant Bombs, Dan Reichert has been involved as well. He's a video game guy, big wrestling fan. He worked for WWE as the New Days podcast producer for a little time as well. So yeah,
that Dan Reichert and Big E need a podcast again. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, they did the Lord's work together. It was great.
They did. No Dan Reichert, no Big Meaty Minds for that meat.
No, that's where that came out of. Yeah, he gave me my favorite saying of all time. He's also he also does good work with Giant Bomb. He does all the looks at wrestling games, which is hilarious because he just fucking marks out over them, which is great. It's fun to watch. Any more news we want to talk about?
I'd like to shout out Sean Ross Sapp for having a wrestling match this weekend.
No, we can't.
The
internet decided we have to hate it. I'm sorry.
The internet. No, he did a cool thing. He had a street fight with Shazza McKenzie. And he's still taking donations to NAMI, which is the North American Mental Health. I can't remember what the I stands for. National Alliance on Mental Illness. My bad. He's still like said, there's still donations for that. He's put the link on pretty much everything that he's covered about this. He had a street fight with Shaz and Mackenzie, and it was hilarious. Yeah, good for Sean Ross Sapp. They're doing a good thing. Fuck the internet for trying to fucking shame him for doing a good thing.
Yeah. Also, a little bit of slightly breaking-ish news, and like recent news. The GCW announced that and the TJPW were going to be at the Collective.
Ooh, nice. Yeah. They've got some fucking big companies working with them this year.
Yeah, so that joins.
They've got TNFaye, they've got DDT again, they've got
DDT
Tokyo
back.
Pro now.
Yeah, they're the three that are announced so far: TNFaye, DDT, and TJPW. So yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if Progress got announced with that one as well.
Let hometown hero Tony Deppen fight Mao. You cowards.
Yes.
Oh, give me Deppen versus Mao. Give Tony Deppen whatever matches he wants.
Yeah.
Also, in the 2 weeks we were off, Effie did announce that the next big gay brunch is going to be happening Royal Rumble weekend. On the same day as the Royal Rumble.
In Miami?
In Miami. Or in Orlando, I think, or Tampa. In the Florida. But they did.
No, it's all the same. It's like all right next to each other. It's fine.
That fucking same hellhole. But he did announce that MXM, the former Maximum Male Models, will be on the gay brunch, which I'm
nice.
so excited for. They're already teasing that they're either going to be wrestling MK Ultra, which is the team of Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich.
Yes.
Or if they're not wrestling them, Bussy. They're the two that seem to be getting thrown around a lot. I think fuck both of them and do MXM versus Pheromones. Welcome to the Indies, boys.
Oh God, what a trial by fire!
Hey man, what? You ready to eat some ass?
Why can't we have Pheromones versus Savage Sauce?
Because that would be because you can't do that to them because they like it.
Yeah.
You can't defeat Bronson with ass eating. It only makes him stronger.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
It'd end up like Akira levels of nonsense.
Oh God, no, it would. It absolutely would. You'd end up with a sexy Dano just fucking with what's his name, Bronson, with his head stuck up his ass.
Yeah, somehow Michael Nakazawa would die.
Michael Nakazawa would just be sat crying in the corner, having like Nam flashbacks from last year's Collective.
Fine, just give him some Savage Sauce. It's okay.
It'd be too much ass eating. They'd have to stop it all. Ryan would have to go and have a cold shower.
Ryan would have to excuse himself from polite company.
Ryan would have to go to a Korean steam room like last time.
Should we slip on talk a bit about some AEW because there's been a lot happening. We'll just do this week. Like last week has lost to time forever.
Yeah.
No, there was no wrestling last week. It didn't happen. No. But we can talk about tournament stuff because tournaments are happening now.
Tournaments.
Well, can I just say,
yes.
Brian on commentary is a fucking gift. So good.
I do enjoy Brian on commentary. He just gets so fucking excited, doesn't he?
Yeah. And speaking of problematic people who do Ric Flair things, remember when John Moxley killed Jay Lethal?
I do. Remember when Swerve did the week before as well?
Yeah.
That was nice.
It's just not a good day to be Jay Lethal, is it? Like
that reversal, well, both reversals of the lethal injection, Big Tasty's favourite wrestling move of all time.
I love how he did that, and then Moxley's like, "I'm just gonna choke you, motherfucker." So fucking have it.
Well, the one that Swerve did was worse, where he just like drop kicked his arm out from under him, so he landed on his head. It's like, oh yeah, what's the worst thing you can do when you're wrestling Swerve? Give him a fucking way to murder you worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, then we had Eddie Kingston promo. He talked about basically how this is a tournament full of. After Mox just kills Jay Lethal and Eddie Kingston, like, yeah, there's no scrubs in this tournament. Well, maybe we just saw Jay Lethal.
That's fine. Has to be one.
Yeah, I like Eddie. I like Eddie having a horrible time in this tournament. It's going to give me like the stress, but I'm also kind of enjoying it. Eddie suffers beautifully.
You feel the same way that I do about Hangman.
Yeah,
Like,
every time Eddie loses, it hurts my heart. Like,
well, Eddie got murdered by Brody King the week before.
oh my god, it was so good.
In an incredible match. But we'll talk more about Eddie Kingston having incredible matches later because there's another one coming down the pipeline. Don't you worry.
Me and you had a conversation about this last night, Tasty. I think this is setting up Eddie Kingston to win the whole thing.
Oh, I can't take it. I'll just drop dead. Like, I'm not going to make the 36. I'm going to die on the 30th of December at World's End. Is going to be literally the end of the world for me. When my heart explodes through like sheer worry at what's happening to Eddie Kingston.
They've literally like dropped him to like the lowest like point right now where he's made like this.
Garcia.
He's made like the ultimate gamble. Well, no, I think Eddie more because Garcia hasn't put anything on the line. Garcia's just got.
I mean, like literal point.
Eddie's put like everything on the line in this tournament because of his own pride.
Heart. Yeah,
and because of his fighting spirit, and now he's like getting murdered, and it's like, oh shit, I'm about to lose everything. So now he's got to fight from like the bottom to get to the final. So I think we're going to be in for some prime Eddie Kingston storytelling here.
If this means that I will also get Eddie at Wrestle Kingdom,
yeah,
like
it depends. It depends if they add a triple crown match, though, doesn't it? I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. We had that really weird Ric Flair promo we talked about. We're not going to go back to that. Mark Briscoe versus Roosh. This fucked.
Oh, so good.
Oh, I love Roosh. He's the fucking best.
This is so good.
I don't think Roosh is going to win, but I think he's going to look really strong in this tournament. I think he's going to pick up some big wins.
I think Roosh is dark horse to get to the semis though.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, in his group, it looks more or less locked in that it's going to be Swerve and Mox at this point. Mm-hmm. But
Mark Briscoe Mark Briscoe made Roosh look amazing in this match. He really showed up. It made
Roosh tried to kill that man.
Sarah was watching this the other day, rewatching it, and she basically had to rewind it because she was like, when Roosh hit the bull's horns, did he just kick Mark Briscoe in the head? And yes, he did.
That's whenever Roosh hits the bull's horns, though.
Yeah.
He doesn't not kick the person in the head because Roosh is a fucking lunatic.
Yeah, really good match though, really fun. Roosh picks up the win. Next up, we had Timeless Toni Storm doing a little. She had a touch of the gout. She was fatigued.
This was such a weird promo. It was so good, but my god.
Mariah May's RJ City takes her shoes off. We're showing feet on main here now. Like, what's going on?
I felt like I'd slipped into a fever dream. It was bizarre.
She knows what she's doing.
Yeah, Toni Storm's just trying to poke the internet isn't she?
Well, it's like the way Matt Jackson's trying to provoke the Tumblr girls. She's trying to get the weird. You wait. Hangman did enough of it. It's like she's trying to.
She's trying to get more OnlyFans subscribers. That's what she's doing.
Yeah, that works. Let's go with that website.
You can't do feet for free. It's not correct.
Yeah.
Anyway, next up, MJF comes out. He puts Joe over. Adam Cole. This is where Adam Cole came out as well.
Nah, it was a week before.
Okay.
Where Cole come out
this was when MJF got attacked, didn't he? Yeah, he got assaulted.
And then it went all weird.
Yeah,
he called out the devil, and then he got attacked. And then Samoa Joe come out and just surprise baseball battered the devil people.
But he's protecting his morsel. That's what he's doing.
Yeah. One of them was absolutely Wardlow, 1,000% locked on.
And yeah, the devil basically said next week it's going to be Samoa Joe and MJF versus two of the masked guys in the tag match.
Yeah. That was so funny because Samoa Joe was like, I don't want this.
Yeah.
Hey, Tasty, you know what we're going to have to talk about if this goes the way we think it's going?
Aces and eights.
Oh, yeah.
don't you worry about that, Faye. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
That's going to be a long TNFaye.
Yeah. We'll do that just before you go away to Japan. So you
might need to do this.
Think about it on the plane.
Yeah, you can listen to it back on the plane and entertain yourself.
We might need to do a separate podcast episode just of you regaling us with the history.
Just a 13-hour TNFaye special.
I'll do like a 3-hour video essay on Aces and Eights and how it broke me and the internet and most of wrestling. Next up, then we had Wardlow with weird hat hair for some reason. Can't think why. Versus AR Fox.
Why would Wardlow have weird hat hair? I don't get it.
I don't know. I'm sure it's not.
Why would Tony Khan do this?
So I didn't see last week's Rampage, but apparently they had an altercation backstage. They had like bumped into each other backstage, and then Wardlow was like, "Well, I'm just gonna fucking end you next week."
Yeah.
AR Fox basically called them out on like murdering Matt Sydal with a load of power bombs.
And then he's like, "Well, I'll just do it to you, motherfucker," and then he did. So yeah.
Yeah, he was basically like, "You need to let it go."
Wardlow headbutted him and then said, "I'm going to do it to you next week."
And then, yeah, fair play, he did at the end of the match, like 3 minutes in, because he powerbombed the shit out of him. It hit a beautiful swanton as well on the way, Wardlow.
Yeah.
This was probably the most like competitive match Wardlow's had since he's come back.
You say that, and then it lasted 3 minutes and ended with AR Fox literally dead.
Yeah,
but yes.
Well, AR Fox did get some cool shit off on Wardlow.
He got a few moves in, yeah.
Which is more than anyone else has done so far.
Yeah. Next up, then, we had the returning Top Flight, and Action Andretti is also here.
Action Andretti could have just done with not being there because Top Flight was so good.
But it was great to see Dante back, and his hometown pop as well. Huge pop for Dante.
Action Andretti is also Top Flight now. Sadly.
Yeah. I mean, he was fine in the match. Like he did great. The match was
fun.
themselves
Action Flight now.
He's a great wrestler. He just needs to stop fucking talking.
Yeah, just don't let him talk ever.
He's got big Perk Angle energy.
I just feel like we've been cheated out of like AR Fox being with Top Flight like before they got injured.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, they took on Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, and Brother Zay. This is the Jeff Hardy who basically claimed that he feels like he's not been booked properly in AEW. Well, sorry, Jeff, mate. They were going to put the belts on you, and then you got fucking hammered and drove, didn't you? So, you know.
Yeah, play silly games.
Yeah. So now you get to job out to Action Andretti. Enjoy your contract. Yeah. So
I was going to say, I do think he's going to get some nice, like, Hardy's Edge and Christie and stuff at some point.
I saw a thing on the internet and it was like, imagine Matt Hardy fucking waddling into Tony Khan's office like a duck with a broken back to complain that he's not getting booked properly. It was like, yeah, okay.
Thing is, Matt Hardy probably thinking, I could go to TNA and do like the broken stuff again here. Make silly money just being there.
Yeah, he's doing AEW.
Silly goose.
Just have to wrestle all the time. But so more importantly, the match was fine. The match was fun. It was high flying and stuff. It was good. However, after the match, they were interviewing Top Flight and Andretti when in walked Penta, and he was like, 1, 2, 3, and then he went Penta 1, fucking Vikingo and Commander, and it was like, yeah, let's fucking do that. Okay, I want a match where no one touches the ground for like 20 minutes.
I did like the Penta kind of like was like no hard feelings to Darius after he like destroyed his ankle.
Oh yeah, they also showed repeatedly the clip where his ankle went the wrong way, and it made me a little bit ill. It was fucking horrible. Yeah, like you said, Faye, it was like that time when they showed Cash's arm getting ripped open like all the time.
In like from like 6 different angles.
Yeah, it's in slow motion. You can see the skin tear, and it's like, no, I don't want that. I don't want that at all.
Well, it's so funny though because they showed that and they showed Cash's arm, but they did not show Rey Fenix's arm like bending out of shape.
Oh, because that was that scream that Rey Fenix did when that happened is gonna fucking go to my grave with me. It fucking haunts me.
It was so bad. I think that's genuinely scarred me. Like that was awful.
This one wasn't quite so bad. It was just like I've watched a lot of football. I've seen a lot of footballers break legs and ankles. I've seen a lot of legs and ankles going the wrong way, and I think I'm a little bit like sort of immunized to it. So that this one wasn't. And they did say like look away now, and then like immediately showed it like look away now. Bang, there it is, and I was like, oh fuck, okay.
Twitter freaking out about it again was very funny though, like because obviously not everybody watched Ring of Honor, so probably didn't even see it.
Yeah, they go, oh yeah, Dante got injured. I heard it was bad, and then now they're seeing it, and like, oh fuck, no, yeah, that is.
Oh my god!
So anyway, yeah, it looks like we're going to get, hopefully next week maybe, Andretti, Dante, and Darius versus Penta, Vikingo, and Commander. So fucking inject that into my veins. That's going to be amazing.
Imagine if Twitter was a thing when Sid's leg exploded.
I mean, I've seen it so many times on Twitter anyway, and it happened like 25 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
Next up then, fucking treat of a match. Julia Hart versus Emi Sakura. Yes.
This was so good.
I love the psychology behind this, that Emi chose that Julia couldn't win by submission.
Yeah.
It's fucking brilliant.
Really, really fun. Hard hitting from Sakura, like just chopping the shit out of Julia.
She got corned beef chest, didn't she? Like,
yeah. And Julia, like you say, Julia, she locked in Heartless, but again, she couldn't win with it. So yeah, no dice. She had to do the moonsault press, which was fine. And yeah, nice win. It's a sort of nice start for Julia's title reign. Yeah, I like that she's doing her matches under house rules, carrying that thing on, which is cool.
I think that should just be a thing they do with every title that they hold.
Yeah. It's just a House of Black thing, which is great.
We just need to get that international championship.
Yeah. Next up, RJ City is in danger because Mariah May's maybe manipulating him.
She's gonna hurt my boy, and I'm not a fan of that.
She's gonna hurt Tony Storm, is what she's gonna do.
She's gonna break. Yeah. She's gonna break some hearts. Yeah, she's
gonna break RJ City's heart, and it's gonna devastate me.
She basically manipulated RJ City to get her an audience with Tony Khan and to get her in with Tony Storm as well. So yeah, there's a whole lot of thing going on here. And then we had possibly one of the best promos I think I've seen for a little while, for a hot minute. Christian Cage out. He brings Adam Copeland out, and he just cuts this like really quite sincere promo about like their time as children and like how they grew up together and how like Edge didn't, and there was like a little bit of sort of, he was like, oh yeah, and I know you didn't have a father growing up, and the crowd were like, ooh, and he's like, oh no, don't worry, I'm not here to claim to be a father, I'm here to claim that I'm your brother, because like my father was like a father to you, and like you came to our family's home, you came on vacation with us, you know, you sat at our table, you know, my mum's your biggest fan, and it was like really nice and sweet, and like you were waiting for something, weren't you? But I don't know. And then they sort of like, because the whole thing was like, he's like, oh no, we're not going to have this singles match because we're going to team up now because like we're brothers. So Christian's basically backed into a corner because his boys are on the shelf.
Oh, just to kind of rewind it back to Collision the week before, because obviously we aren't going through it. But Adam took out Nick Wayne and Kill Switch, as he's called now, last week, and then he cut like a really, really like passionate promo, which was again fantastic. Like the fact that these guys aren't doing this match on pay-per-view feels wrong.
Yeah, but they are doing it in Canada, which feels big.
Yeah. Can we talk about, was last week when like Nick Wayne nearly murdered his mum, and then Edge was like no, and then yeah.
Well, Killswitch was going to do it in Jutta, wasn't he? And then Edge came out. Well, so Adam came out, made the save, and then like he was so blinded by like his anger that like even with Nick Wayne's mum screaming no, he basically killed his son in front of her.
Yeah.
And he just looked at her as if to say, "Sorry, but your son's dead now."
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was like, for me, I felt like he's willing to go to that dark place. Like he's not quite face. If that makes sense.
That's what he's always been like. That's literally been his character his entire career, is that he's got like this mean streak to him, and when he gets pushed to it,
he is the ultimate opportunist, isn't he? He's the guy who'll do whatever it takes to win.
Yeah.
So yeah, end of the promo, Cage gives him a hug, tells him he loves him, and then he goes to hit him with the belt. Like, so there is a betrayal here, but then Copeland sees it coming and goes just straight to the dick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was really good about the delivery of this promo as well was like Adam came out really intense, like he was gonna fucking kill Christian. And as soon as Christian brought that up, he really softened and like he got really emotional. It was like, oh shit.
He talked about like Adam's mum passing away and like how she wanted to see them tag together again and stuff like that. And then there was that really awesome. So he basically low blows Christian, And then he grabs the belt and he's like, "Yeah, shine this title up, sleep with it, because next week it's coming home with me." And he just throws it down.
She's coming home with me.
Yeah, she's coming home with me. And then like, he throws it down, turns around, then turns back like, "Oh yeah, one more thing. Go fuck yourself." Chuck Taylor in fucking pieces.
So Tom Clark said that the guy who does like where it's on a delay in America didn't bleep it fast enough, so it made it past the censors.
So just for so I've seen this now. So it was live on Fight. It was uncensored. It came out. He said it. Mm-hmm. It was bleeped on the ITV version.
Mm.
Yeah, well, it would have been because it was pre-recorded.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was great. I fucking love that, and it makes like this match feels enormous now. Like, remember the fucking doldrums that the TNT title was in like 6 months ago.
Yeah. I think Christian should retain here. I'm just saying it. I don't think he's going to. But
Copeland winning in Canada is fucking huge, isn't it? Like, it's massive.
Yeah.
It'd be bigger if it was Toronto, though.
Yeah.
That's their hometown.
Yeah, I mean, they could find a way to stretch it out. There could be a fucky finish because it's on TV, and then they could do the match on World's End, couldn't they?
Or Christian gets his rematch at World's End, I suppose.
Yeah. So next up, then we had Swerve versus Jay White. Speaking on matches that felt massive, this felt enormous.
This was so good.
Two guys who are literally like white hot at the moment.
Yeah. So I was saying to you last night, Jay, like this match was so good, it got me. Like, you know, when matches just hook you and you're just in and you just with it. I jumped out of my seat, like literally jumped out of my seat when Jay White kicked out of the stump.
Yeah. So one thing that's like really hard to do in wrestling is a heel versus heel match. And I think with Swerve, he's kind of got that. He's like a cool heel now, isn't he? He's like, he's kind of like AJ in the Bullet Club, Kenny the Cleaner. He's not really a tweener, but he's not quite he's definitely not a face. But
like an anti-hero.
Yeah. And everyone was rooting for Swerve in this match. But it's so hard to do like a heel versus heel match, and these guys hit it out the park.
Yeah.
Because they just went, well, we'll just have a fucking good match, and we'll just both be bastards to one another, and we'll both cheat. And like, there was a really good callback to Swerve versus Jay versus
Roosh,
where Jay had gone for a Blade Runner, got pushed in the corner with the ref, gone for a low blow, and in the Roosh one, obviously he hit it and he beat Roosh, unfortunately. But in this one, Swerve caught him like, "You're not going to do that to me." I watched that match and then just proceeded to fucking beat the shit out of Jay.
So good.
And then when Jay looked like he'd finally was one move ahead of Swerve, goes for the Blade Runner, and Swerve just rolls him up from the Blade Runner. Picks up a quick win.
It's not even like he out wrestled him, is it? Like, I hope they revisit this.
He did out wrestle him because he.
No, but you know what I mean, like.
Yeah, he outsmarted them. Like it was as much kind of like a game of wits as it was like wrestling.
But this felt like booking wise, like old Attitude Era booking, when you got these two guys who were on like real hot streaks, like coming up and butting heads with each other and like sort of colliding. It felt like, you know, two big apex predators like coming together, like Godzilla v King Kong stuff. It was it was so good, and then, a really good main event as well. Like it was really worthy. Yeah, it was fucking great.
If you add into, if you're gonna like go back into this feud, add into what happened at the tag league as well, with Gate of Agony.
Like, well, the Mogul Embassy declared war on Bullet Club.
Yeah.
In any form.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty much secured what Swerve's doing until like Revolution, hasn't it? Which is
eliminating Bullet Club.
Just fucking trying to kill Jay White.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Although it's interesting, because with Juice being out, and obviously he's going to be out till like probably
the New Year.
Is it New Year? All right. Well, they could do like Mogul Embassy versus Bullet Club Gold, I guess, wouldn't he?
You know what is fun though, right? Where Swerve in his after thingy match, his after post match interview, which I'm loving, but I'm loving that they're doing these, by the way. They're doing like a pre-match and post-match promo. It's very New Japan.
It's very
so
new,
good.
isn't it? It's like we got whiny defeated Switchblade promo, didn't we? Which was quite nice.
Ah, it was great. But like Swerve was saying, when I first, because Jay White was Swerve's first match.
Yeah.
From leaving WWE, Jay offered him a Bullet Club t-shirt and Swerve turned him down. That's how they ended up fighting.
Yeah,
but it's just funny because like that's I'm not saying it won't, but like that's how Jay was first introduced into Bullet Club.
Yeah,
right.
It was. Kenny tried to get him in, and then he turned on him
during
down. Chaos. Weirdly, Jay White and Chaos is just the worst thing ever. Hated it. It just wasn't right. And then he turned on after joining Chaos for like a month. He then turned on Okada and joined Bullet Club.
Mm-hmm.
And they ousted the Elite from the Bullet Club, didn't they?
So it would be interesting to see if they. I don't think they will, but it would be interesting to see if they did anything with that.
I think they'll definitely, if the fact that Swerve brought up that match, I think they'll definitely like do something like maybe obviously with the Mogul Embassy being like Swerve, like doing a merger of like Mogul affiliates and the embassy in the first place. Jay White might try and do something similar, and then Swerve's just gonna like declare war on him.
Yeah.
Which I mean, we all like a bit of gang warfare in wrestling, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. We'll blast through Rampage real quick because not really a lot to talk about on this. Danhausen made his in-ring return, which was nice.
And he got the pin.
He got the pin, yeah. So it was Orange Cassidy, Hook, Danhausen, and Trent versus Uno and Reynolds, Daddy Magic, Matt Menard, and Cool Hand Ange. Danhausen with a roll up for the win, which was nice. Good to see him back in the ring, and he got to do a bit of actual wrestling as well, didn't he? Which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Danhausen and Evil Uno had like a really good like little exchange in this match.
Think you'll ever be able to do the GTS?
I will do it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
No one's doing it in AW. No, it's fine. Next up then, Hobbs, Takeshita, and Carl Fletcher did a squash. Great. Chris Statlander, Shida, and Sky Blue defeated the Outcast and Anna Jay. Fine. And in the main event, Penta, Vikingo, and Commander had a little warm-up match against the Workhorsemen and Brian Cage.
This was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. So this was meant to be like the Workhorsemen getting a tryout for the Mogul Embassy as well. Yeah, and they failed bastically.
I would have liked to have seen them in the Mogul Embassy, to be honest.
I would have. When they lost, though, Nana was furious with them.
Yeah. They just walked out halfway through, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, which is kind of weird the way they're doing this. The Don Callis family basically said they were going to take out the new Golden Lovers before they get the tag title match, which is weird because it kind of leaves the tag titles in limbo, which I don't like.
Yeah, well, there was no Starks or Big Bill on this show at any point this week on any of the shows.
No.
Right, speaking of the shows, we'll move on to Collision. Some fucking bangers on the show. I think this tournament just delivers, doesn't it? Starting with Brody King versus Claudio. This match was just nasty in like the best possible way. They just beat the shit out of each other.
If you want a reminder of just how strong Claudio Castagnoli is, watch him do that swing on Brody for what felt like
I was literally saying to Sarah, like, there's no way he's going to swing him. Like, he can't do it. And then he just picks him up and like deadlifts him and fucking swings him for like 10 seconds. And it's like, okay, yeah.
I mean, he did it to the Great Khali, and that's like swinging a fucking table round.
Yeah. But that was great. They basically chopped the shit out of each other. They were outside. They were throwing each other into the barriers. They spent so much time on the outside.
That bit when Brody launched Claudio onto the fucking barrier like ribs first was horrible.
Without the padding as well.
He took the padding off, didn't he? I forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's just Claudio folded up like a fucking accordion over it.
I love the bit at the end when Claudio did the springboard and then Brody just punched him and hit him with a power driver.
Oh.
And then he just hit that murder lariat, like fucking hell.
Yeah. Claudio did the pop-up uppercut on Brody as well, didn't he?
Yeah. It was great. It was a gnarly match, but it was fucking incredible. Then they replayed that Mox promo they put on Twitter earlier in the week.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Also, Claudio after that match on his after match promo said as well, I respect you. You got my respect, and it's oh.
Yeah.
Instantly he gets your respect.
Yeah.
Hey, Big Tasty. You know what would look good? Brody King dressed like a Minotaur.
Oh god.
BDK is never late, baby.
Next we had that Mox promo, which was amazing. I think Mox is at his best when he shows a little bit of vulnerability, and he sort of breaks down the barriers a little bit, breaks down the walls a bit. He basically said he's hurt, he's sick, he's depressed, he's pissed. He's his body's falling apart, but he's just gonna wrestle through it because it's all he's got, it's all he knows.
Wrestling Twitter really had a normal one over this, didn't he? They're oh, I hope he gets the help he needs. It's guys, please.
And then at the end when he was yeah, come on then. If you think my trigger's been pulled, if you think I'm ready to go, come and have a go.
Oh,
This was sort of kind of paralleling a little bit the really good promos he was cut when he was champion, when he was yeah, no one's champion forever. I'm gonna go at some point. Everyone gets got.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Mox might finally get that holiday?
No. I don't think he'd know what to do with it. He'd be there fucking
I don't think he'd want it.
He'd be there in the pool.
In an interview, and he was
he'd be King Kong Larry in the wait staff by the fucking pool, not knowing what to do.
Someone asked him, and he was I don't know what I'd do.
Yeah, exactly.
He literally didn't know.
Next up, then we had
just sit there polishing all the weapons that Samoa Joe sends him.
Next up, we had Abaddon versus Kira Hogan. Fun little match. Didn't go too long. Little 4-minute match, but it was nice. It was fun. Good to see Abaddon, not a Halloween, which is great.
Great to see Abaddon back.
Yeah, she got the win by just slamming Kira Hogan into the mat head first, which was nice.
And then they had a lovely little stare down with Julia. We get an Abaddon versus Julia. Yes, please.
That's going to be interesting, isn't it? So yeah.
And not even a Halloween.
No.
Second Halloween.
That was great. Next up, then we had another tournament match where we had that Samoa Joe interview with Roddy Strong coming in, which was fine. Then we had Daniel Garcia versus Andrade El Idolo, accompanied by CG Perry. Shout out to Andrade for cracking open a can of Woo Energy during this match, drinking it and then wooing.
Well, he didn't drink it. He definitely didn't drink it.
He didn't swallow it. He put it in his mouth.
None of that spooky liquid went in his mouth. He literally, you see it. He doesn't even tilt the can all the way back. He opens it, and then he goes like that, and then he just stops himself and just throws the can down.
But yeah, really fun match. Matt Menard was on commentary, which was good.
Him and Nigel's so funny.
Yeah.
Shout out as well. Nigel saved the clam shirt.
Yeah.
Nigel saved the clam shirt. Also, Excalibur mentioning that Daniel Garcia's defeated Bryan Danielson, and Nigel immediately going, well, that changes everything, and immediately getting behind Garcia.
Really, we have our we've had words about Andrade on this podcast, but I think this sort of tournament format is exactly what he needs. Just a nice little run of matches where we can just go out and have these bangers, banger after banger after banger.
I agree, but can Daniel Garcia win a match?
No, he has to embrace becoming a professional wrestler first. He's not gonna. If he wins, he's not going to learn. So
he's got to fight Braniel. He's got to fight Braniel.
If he wins a single fucking match in this tournament,
it's going to be against Bryan.
What's the point of this fucking redemption arc?
If he does, it's going to be against Bryan.
I reckon if he does, it's going to be against Brody King.
So yeah, Andrade picks up the win with the hammerlock DDT, but then he salutes, he shakes Garcia's hand afterwards and salutes him. He shows him some respect, which is nice. I think this is all leading to Garcia realizing that he needs to become more, he needs to adapt to this sort of way of working, way of thinking.
He needs to get back to who he was.
Which I kind of don't understand what Matt Menard's position is, because he doesn't want him to become a professional wrestler. He wants him to be a sports entertainer, but he also doesn't want him to do the dance. So I don't know where
he wants him to take the wrestling seriously and entertain on the way to the ring.
Right. Yeah. Next up, then we had Willie Mack backstage, or Wild Willie Mack appeared.
That was very nice.
Tasty. Are you okay about the prospect of Willie Mack versus Wardlow next week?
Yes, especially when Willie Mack said, "Pack a lunch because I'm a big boy and I'm a big meal to try and eat."
I fucking love Willie Mack. It's great.
Next up, then, Next Strong. I'm just going to call them Next Strong. Come out, and basically he said MJF's the devil. Roddy dedicates the coming win to his best friend Adam Cole, and then they sadly squash my boys, the Iron Savages. Yeah.
Bad, isn't it?
I mean, they're still getting on TV. It's fine. I like it as long as I get to see them. After the match, though, the best thing I've ever seen. Roddy Strong jumps out of his wheelchair, does a running drop kick on Jack Jameson, and then trying to get back into his wheelchair, he crashes through it and breaks it.
Roderick Strong is the most entertaining thing in AEW right now. Which is weird. Again, I never thought I'd say.
Going back to AEW, just catering for all the stickers out there. He did AEW this week on Sunday, and he had Marina Shafir barefoot, just with his feet just up on his lap. So AEW is they're going after the feet guys. That's the new audience.
I love the fact that
sorry, Tumblr girls, it's over now.
It's all feet guys now. It's fine. We tried Tumblr, it didn't work, but we're onto the feet people.
I love the fact that RJ mentioned that wrestling barefoot, and then she came in.
Yeah.
And he just slowly took her shoes and socks off right in front of RJ. And then his little boy comes in and he takes his shoes off and throws them at RJ.
I mean, is RJ a fuck guy? What's going on here? Is this I don't know.
Maybe that's
RJ. RJ fucking hated that, you could tell.
I think he protests too much. Anyway, speaking of protesting too much, after this we had Ethan Page getting interviewed backstage. He calls out Kenny Omega.
Chop that one up into matches that are absolutely gonna fuck that I didn't realize.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good.
And then, as the internet said, Kenny Omega accepted it like he was a fucking side quest giver in a JRPG.
So good.
He was like, "Yeah, sure, why not? Okay, yeah, let's do it."
Imagine him in Pokemon or Persona. That's what it's like.
Yeah, well, Kenny is just he's a character from Undertale. That's Kenny's entire persona, isn't it, basically? Next up, then, we had House of Black versus Mastodon Christopher Daniels. This was House of Black with Buddy Matthews and Malachi, because Brody had already wrestled. Every member of House of Black appearing on the show, which you love to see.
Which they did as well last week.
Yeah. And yeah, they basically it was a bit of a back and forth. I loved Buddy and Matt Sedell having a little going at each other. That was real nice. I
love that stereo meteoras and then they're getting up and staring each other down. It was fucking awesome.
But then it ended with Malachi, Black Mass, and Christopher Daniels so hard he probably gave him another spooky eye.
Yeah.
A real spooky eye.
Yeah.
And then FTR came out.
This was so good.
Yeah. So House of Black cut a promo basically saying, "We can protect you. You should join us." And then Malachi put the mic down for Dax to pick up. And literally Buddy kneed his fucking head off.
This entire thing ended up being them going, "Watch me murder your best mate," because Buddy had hold of Cash. Or was it Dax?
It was Dax. Cash got fucking crimed.
And Malachi did that thing what he used to do. He doesn't really do it as much here, but he used to do a lot in NXT. He used to lift them up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gorgeous.
I feel like the House of Black are finally coming back into prominence again, which is great because obviously
I think the best thing for them was losing the trios titles because they feels like they've got more individual focus now. Whereas when they were all together, they sort of felt like a bit of an amorphous thing. Whereas now, Brody's doing his own thing, he feels like a legit monster. You can focus more on when they're just in a tag team, they stand out a bit more.
Mm-hmm. They felt unstoppable with the trios as well, didn't he?
Yeah. I'd like to see them next year, all going after singles titles.
It'd be so good.
As I say, get Buddy in the international championship picture again. I'd argue have him win it. Give him a little run with that. Get Malachi either in TNT or world title.
I would love to see Malachi with the world title.
And then Brody just doing whatever the fuck he wants. Just if he wants the Triple Crown, he can have the Triple Crown. If he wants the fucking TNT title, he can have the TNT title.
Yeah.
If he wants to just go on a murder spree, let him go on a murder spree. I ain't gonna stop him.
Speaking about spooky stuff, next up then we had Renee Paquette interviewing Toni Storm. Toni Storm calls out Sky Blue for basically ruining her championship presentation and
it can be spooky too.
And her fake spookiness. And
I love that. It said you're gonna be spooky. I can wear a hat. You're wearing a hat now.
Then Then they went to a break, came back. Sky Blue, best promo thing she did, cut very short, but she basically said she said Toni Storm was going through a pathetic midlife crisis. Which, Jesus Christ, she's young for a midlife crisis, and she said she's going to shove Tony's shoe up her ass. Which, Also, Toni Storm had to borrow a shoe off Renee because she was still barefoot.
Yeah.
So she just nicked Renee's shoe.
I love that Renee was like really trying her hardest not to laugh until Tony took a shoe. I was like, what the fuck, Tony?
Next up, then, we had a wild Kip Sabian appeared.
Oh, this made me so
enjoyed
happy.
this match.
And he was taking on Vikingo. This was a fucking banger, wasn't it? Like, Jesus Christ. I mean, Kip Sabian was never going to win, but he made Vikingo look like $1 million.
We did get that contender for video package of the year before that as well.
Where Christian said he's the face of AEW forever.
Oh, this was fucking excellent. Just because they had like the pictures of them when they were kids, which they always use in like the WWE ones when they're talking about like the career and them being like in a team and that. It was just cool to see. Very, very exciting. Again, I can't believe it's not on pay-per-view. It feels like one of the biggest matches they've put on this year. Yeah. Anyway, back to Vikingo and Kip Sabian because this was really fun.
Just really fun match. Kip Sabian showed his flippy shit, which was good. Vikingo is a fucking magician. I don't care what you say. He's not real.
He's so good, isn't he?
I'd very much like to see more Kip Sabian in 2024 as well.
Mm-hmm. Put him in all. Give him a match at all in next year, please.
Oh, absolutely. Thing is, even if they just do like a battle royal and just to get Kip on the card.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
It's like Wrestle London. Just do it, Tony. Just give him a go. Next up, we had Keith Lee and Shane Taylor gonna have a match at Final Battle, which is that'll be good.
I can't wait.
You okay with that one, mate?
I'll be fine. Yeah, I'll manage. That's gonna be fucking lovely. And then just before the main event, we had some Miro stuff. Miro was trying to get into Andrade's locker room, and he basically denounced his god, didn't he?
He had done ages ago, but it's quite funny the way like it's as CJ's doing the promo, and Miro just comes behind and goes, "Ah!" and you just say, "Around, what are you doing?
Yeah,
get away from the Miro."
It was fine. It was good. I'm still intrigued to see where this goes. I think it's leading somewhere. Obviously, I don't know what it's leading to, but I'm assuming it's CJ and Miro getting back together as a couple.
I think it's either CJ turns on Andrew Daddy, and then we get Miro versus Andrew Daddy, or Miro and Andrew Daddy as a tag team.
Oh yeah, that could be good. What about Miro and CJ versus Andrew Daddy and debuting Charlotte Flair?
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
I'm legally obligated to say that I would very much like to happen.
You
like twice if you're okay.
If I don't, then the locks will get changed the next time I leave the house. Next up, then back to the main event. I mean, fuck me, what a match! Match of the week. Bryan Danielson versus Eddie Kingston in the Continental Classic. This was, I mean, their first match fucked, didn't it? But this was incredible as well.
This was like another level. Like they just went after each other.
It hurt my soul, this match, for multiple reasons. But yeah, firstly, when they were chopping the actual shit out of each other at the start.
I think this could be the final of the whole tournament.
Run it back. I mean, at one point, like Eddie hit Danielson with a chop so hard that Danielson, he had to collect himself.
That was like at the beginning of the match as well.
Yeah.
That he fell over.
I love the fact with these two, they like push each other to the point where like there was a bit where Danielson like headbutted Eddie, like headbutted him, and then like Eddie just started like wailing on him. His eye patch nearly came off, and Brian was like,
I
"Shit, Eddie, my eye."
I loved it when they were both on the floor after Danielson had just like give him a submission, and then Eddie just started screaming no in his face.
So I want to talk about this. So this is the very ending of the match, and this was beautiful and like tragic at the same time. So this was like Eddie knowing that he'd lost. Basically, he had nothing left. He was done. His race was run. Danielson was just the thing about Danielson. He's like the T1. He's like a Terminator, isn't he? He just never doesn't get back up. He's like always got more. Whereas Eddie like has all of the heart, but like his body just doesn't let him go like all the way. And like Eddie was just on the floor and like just screaming at Danielson because he knew what was coming. He knew he'd lost, and he knew that that's going to put him at like no points after 2 matches. He's going to be like provisionally out of the tournament depending on how the other results go. It's out of his hands. And then Danielson just like smiling that shit-eating smile that he does, that like horrible like from the GIF, like the one that makes everyone upset. And then he just like measures him. He just measures him, and then he just fucking kills him with that running knee.
Yeah, I love him.
Beautiful.
And Eddie sold it like he'd been shot as well, which was
the whole like thing with Eddie, like he hit the back fist once, didn't he? And Brian kicked out, and then the next time he went for it, Brian like somehow reversed the back fist into the label lock.
Yeah.
It's fucking beautiful. Like as I say, I think the story for this going into like being the rematch in the final, because it'll be eating Eddie alive. They can't beat Danielson. That's his whole redemption arc.
Is that going to be his new Claudio thing?
Well, he's got Claudio next in the tournament, hasn't he?
He's beat Claudio, that's fine. You can do it again. It's all right.
Yeah, but he's beat Claudio when he had nothing left to lose, whereas now he's got everything to lose.
Yeah.
The BCC just being this eternal thorn in his side with like Mox in the middle.
I said to Tasty yesterday, I think that Eddie goes through BCC to get to win the whole thing. Like,
what if it was Eddie and Mox in the final?
Nah, I think it'll be Eddie and Mox in the semis and Eddie and Brian in the final. That's what I think's going to happen.
I think this tournament's going to break my heart. I really do.
One thing that's really struck me about this tournament, and I didn't know they'd be able to do it, but they've been able to tell loads of really good stories just through the matches. So you've got Brody King on this like unstoppable tear. You've got like Claudio like trying to figure out what he's up to. You've got Garcia trying to like work out his whole thing. You've got Swerve just on fire. You've got Eddie like having the worst time and like trying to find any sort of ground to sort of stand on. You've got Danielson who's just having this like sort of victory lap final run.
He said, didn't he? He was like in that after match promo where he's like meditating in the locker room. He was like, it doesn't matter whether it's my foes or my friends. Like, I'm gonna like go through everybody.
Oh, it's just.
I think
you've got to think of the legacy of this. You've got to think of the legacy of it as well, of like the Triple Crown. Like that'll be what Danielson wants to cement.
That's why I think it makes so much sense for Eddie to have this kind of redemption arc to get into that final now, because it's all Eddie wants. Is like he loves All Japan, and he's getting to kind of do that All Japan style Triple Crown in a tournament, like a Japanese style tournament, and it's his belt that he's put on the line. But it's 2 of his belts he's put on the line.
Claudio actually called it the C2, didn't he? In his
so
promo.
Did Swerve, actually. I think that's what they're kind of going for, isn't it? The Continental Classic. They want to eventually call it the C2. Even though it's not called the G1 because it's just 1G. It's like,
right. Should we do a little rest of the week and then wrap it up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone want to go first?
I'm gonna go for someone that I've pretty much consistently. It's been between 2 people for me the last couple of weeks, but it's hard to argue, and that's Swerve.
Yeah, fair.
For me, it's Brian Danielson. His match with Eddie was fantastic, and his work on commentary's been brilliant. So
I'm gonna I'm gonna take Brody King because I liked him manhandling Claudio. That was good fun.
That was fun.
And we
Excellent.
can't have Juice because he's...
No, Eddie Kingston can fill in the 4th spot this week. It's fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
what a choice.
Right then, on that note, we're going to call it there. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back next week. Faye, you're going to Atomic Wrestling this week in Liverpool.
Yeah, and maybe Live Pro on Saturday as well, depending on schedule and with other things that I'm doing.
So you're going to have so much. We're going to talk about. We're going to do a little bit of an indie wrap up next week of a couple of live shows you've been to over the last few weeks. We'll talk all about them. So look forward to that. Everyone.
Can we send our well wishes to Christy Quinlan as well?
Yeah, did his ACL?
Did he? Strong. We don't know. It's not confirmed yet.
Was it not? Oh, good. Hopefully he's not out for too long, and then hopefully he comes back soon and murders some people. Because
he's strong indeed.
But he has expressed interest of him and Pud wanting to come and do future episodes. So
sweet.
Maybe that'd come to World's End.
I'll pester those two for World's End predictions.
Lovely stuff. Yeah, so we're on the road to World's End. We're also on the road to Christmas, so there's a lot going on. We'll see you all next week. Enjoy. Don't eat too many mince pies or chocolate, avant-garde chocolates or anything like that. Or do what you want. You're all grown-ups, probably. Hopefully, because we swear a lot. But yeah, we'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.
Don't worry about it, Matthew.
Yeah, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, yes, Danhausen here. Danhausen has been summoned. You must love this podcast housing, the Untitled Wrestling Podcast housing.